Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Ooh, as we lose someone into the bridge tonight. Welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night, where we are here for round 8 of Sunday Night Lights, season 18, of course, from the nostalgic track here at Oran Park. It's no longer with us, of course, in real life, but tonight we get to relive some of the glory days here at Oran Park for the Sunday Night Lights, the Australia-New Zealand Strength of Field for the Skip Barber Racing Series. Of course, tonight I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me for this bumper race here tonight, once again, is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, big night of racing here ahead of us. Yeah, absolutely. Some familiar faces, old and some new ones here as well tonight, as we did get the bumper 4K off for the week. It's about 800 clear of any other race this week, which is great to see the drivers once again coming out to support the series. Now, Lee Anderson as sitting provisionally on pole after the first lap. Might see some guys, based on that, after one lap, we might see some guys get close to nudging a 1 minute 14 in quali, which would be something to see. I have seen one done this week, but only one in the racing that I've seen. But certainly, this would be the race to have it in, Corey. Yeah, absolutely. Cost him dearly as he's plummeting down the order as the guys start running their second laps. We see Luke Whitten on screen at the moment. He's top of the pops with a 15 dead. O'Frey's come in not too far behind with a 15-2. Soria back with us again. He's just ejected from the cockpit there, sitting in P4, just under 4 tenths behind. And Chabonet, sitting in P5, new to the series, as Gourlay jumps up to complete his second lap and jump up to P4, just behind his red face teammate in Julian O'Fray. He's doing a warm down lap at the moment. The times continue to tumble, and we have seen our first 1 minute 14 of tonight's session. Tim Gorgrocher ducking into the 14s in quali. That's an outstanding time, Corey. Yeah, very, very close there. As we see him just in the 15 dead range. Luke Whitten on his third lap managing a 14.9, but of course that won't count. Only 2 hot laps in qualies. Oh, yes. Thank you for those at home who've pointed out that we were missing my co-commentator there. Apologies, Corey. Mate, you were doing the Marceau impersonation for the first couple of bits there, but I think we're all back to good as we should now go through our grid. For this episode of Sunday Night Lights, we have from Oran Park our starting grid tonight. Top Split Racing's Tim Gorcrocher with a 14.9, outstanding time there. P2 tonight, Julian O'Fray from Redface Racing with a 15 dead, followed similarly with a 15 dead by P3. Team Milo, the first of the Team Milo drivers here tonight, Mr. Luke Whitten, rounding out your provisional podium. P4 tonight, the second of the red-faced racing boys, Sasha Gourlay. Jose Soria of Pistons Sim Racing Team. That's a tongue twister in P5. Arnaud Chabanais in making his debut from P6 here tonight. The car 17. There's one to watch for you at home, folks. P17, UK and I's Lee Anderson, a regular SNL driver, of course. P8 tonight, another regular in Håkon Grebstad for Team Ovaltine. P9 tonight at UK and I's Anthony Catt, ready to get amongst it. P10, great qualifying spot for Kevin Henderson, ANZ's own. P11, the naturalised ANZ driver, Mr. John Scholz, the second of the Team Milo drivers. Team Torpedoes, Anthony Jones in P12, rounding out that first page. As we go over the page, ANZ's Samuel Collins in P13, Team Milo's Russell Clark in 14, his teammate Paul Beatty in 15th, 16th, Peter Balassa in P17, the Cowboy Sam Devantier for 10X Racing, Team of Escalampy, who won both his laps in P18, and Ben Snell for Team Milo looks similarly not to have set a time. The strength of field here tonight, tick over 4,000 as we said, and the all-important track temp very hot here at 45 degrees as we grab the front of the grid now and see them all take off on the first of 20 laps around here, Corey, on the run down into the very challenging opening sector.
Yeah, the one main thing to be worried about here is just trying to find some track space. This is usually a flat-out corner for a lot of cars, but for these skippies, you really got to be tentative in the first couple of laps. As we can see a little bit of tyre smoke from cars locking up. Got one spinning in the background. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been Timu Vascalampi there in turn number 2, Alex.
Yeah, just gathering it up. He is, you're exactly right, mate. It was Timo Vascalampi. Now, as we jump up the front, we've got O'Fray and Gorkrotcher leading the way now on this opening series. They come up around the top of the hill there, sweeping right-hand corner through turn 6 now. Very narrow track here, of course. A lot of undulations, elevation changes, and tight corners. It's one sort of racing line here, and it is another one of these great pressure to pass tracks rather than draft to pass, Corey.
Yeah, but it's still technically different to the way that you got to race at, say, last week's track of Phoenix. They're both very technical tracks, but they're technical in different ways completely. You can still get a draft here along the front straight, but trying to make the inside move into turn 1 can still be very sketchy in the first few laps, as Tim Gorkrotcher officially leads lap number 1, followed by the 2 red-faced racing team cars of Julian Alfrey and Sasha Gourlay, with Team Milo's Luke Whitten sitting there in P4 right now, Alex.
Yeah, and you see Gorkrotcher as the rear steps out. He gives a bit of racing room there to O'Fray, who's going side by side with him in on the approach to turn 3 now. Gorkrotcher defending, and I was just about to say, very interesting to see him up the front straight there defending from the start of lap 1, because it is very difficult to pass around here, and leading from the front, as they say, all you got to do is defend. The draft is strong enough to keep people in touch, but certainly not to get them by if you take some simple defensive positioning, which is what Gorkrotcher did early on, Corey.
Yeah, but in saying that, Alex, it's still all about putting that pressure on. You can use the draft to not make a pass, but you can certainly use it to pour the pressure on, especially this kind of area here with this little S section before the final corner. You can get right up behind someone and really pressure them into making a mistake out of that final corner, making the front straight here a bit of a breeze to get a move going. It looks like at the moment our front 6 cars, who have started to build a little bit of a gap over the P7, just looking like they're trying to sort themselves out a little bit here, just take it a little bit easy, although Tim Gorkrotcher is still going very defensive there in the turn 1, Alex.
Yeah, look, he didn't see again the rear stepping out wide, almost missing the apex, but he didn't really have to take as much of a defensive line through there that time, perhaps feeling like he had the gap enough so the draft wouldn't come into play. You really need to be within half a second to have a real shot at passing through turn 1, 2. It is your best passing opportunity, but jeepers, you've got to have your wits about you, because it's a very challenging section through turn 1, 2, and it's brought many unstuck here this week.
Yeah, indeed it has, Alex, myself included. That run into turn 1, especially on the colder tyres, is very treacherous indeed. It's so easy to just make one wrong move and end up locking all the way through turn two and into the kitty litter on the other side. But it looks like at the moment, these guys at the front are definitely holding their own and getting into their own little groove. As we can see, the gap between sixth and seventh is absolutely massive right now, Alex.
Yeah, you got nearly 3 seconds, and the cork of the bottle is that 17 car of Arnaud Chabanais we were mentioning before. Tucked in behind him is Anderson now, who, yes, he just ducks out to make the move now into turn 1 and 2. Looks to get it done. Chabanais very loose in the rear as you expect there. He's very tight, holding tight line, but the door is still open for Grebstad as we see Anderson taking the defensive line to make sure that move sticks. And, Grebstad showing the nose up the inside of 3, but Chabanais holding on to it and just losing the one spot that time around as the rear of that car looking tremendously loose there for Chabanais, but he's still hanging on. Making his debut here tonight. He's down a couple of positions as we see Cat up 3, but making the most progress through this field and leading this second pack, Corey.
Well, speaking of loose, Alex, I'm not quite sure here, but I think the very front nose cone on the 16 car of Kevin Henderson might actually be getting a little bit loose itself. Just that very, very front section, just in front of the wing, looks like it's flapping around a little bit in the breeze. So he might have driven up the back of someone here very softly at some point in the race. But we're going to go back up to the front of the pack now, still being led by Gorecrotcher, who are still taking a somewhat defensive line into turn 1. Our Frey looking for the over-under into turn 2. Couldn't quite get it, and now he's under pressure himself from his teammate, Sasha Gourlay, Alex.
Gourlay really showing there's no team orders just quite yet. The one-plated car looking up the inside of his Red Face Racing team member there into turn 2. And I apologise, I miscalled that. It was Anderson who's made the most progress through the field at this stage rather than his compatriot in Anthony Catt. Someone in John Scholz, the 18-plated car, is making his way. Oh, is that replay? Did not want to work there. I'm just going to try and find where Mr. Scholz lost it. He's coming into turn 3. Yeah, the wheels have literally fallen off there for John Scholz. Let's go see where that might have happened. Wheel looks... Oh, there's been a big pile up. Looks like... who's that? I'm just trying to find... Was it Devantier? No. Just trying to find who it was that had that
I think
incident.
you might want to look at the 17 of Arnu there, Alex. It looked like he got a little bit wide coming through the exit of turn 1, got onto the gravel, and lost it from there, causing that big pile up.
Yeah, mate. I was talking about the rear of his car being fairly loose, and you're right. That's caused that massive pile up through there, as there were so many cars line astern that it was very difficult to avoid at what is a very challenging braking zone, and that's brought plenty of our field unstuck. But we are still back up the front now with a pack of 6 cars.
Gorecrotcher's off the track.
He's made a big blue there. I don't know if he's lost the rear on his own. Well, it's 2 by 2 now. Are they going to fall back into line? The 5-plated car of Soria lets him back in. Let's go take another look and see what happened. Oh, if this replay thing will work for me. Let's see if we can't. We'll go back a bit further and see if we can't pick up what happened to Gorecrotcher there. He was just coming through the tail end. He's had the defensive line into 3. He's got O'Fray on the outside. There's a little dip here. Did he get any help? Brakes, the rear, he's a bit wide of the apex, and he's just spun wide. Probably got on the gas a bit early there, or carried a bit too much speed, and that's cost him big time. Dropped him back down into P4, Corey. Very tough to get it done from there.
Indeed it will be, Alex, but if anyone can do it, it can be our pole sitter, Mr. Tim Gorecrotcher, although at the moment, looks like he's just a little bit unsettled here in the traffic. He was running the whole race at his own pace there when he was out front, but now he has to try and deal with the fact of everyone else in front of him maybe having a little bit of a different braking zone to himself. So it's definitely going to make things interesting to see whether he can make progress through the field. But at the moment, Julian Alfrey and Sasha Gourlay, our 1 and 2 plated cars, currently second and first respectively, showing us how it's done here, red face racing style, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely they are, Corey. Leading at 1 and 2, or 2 and 1 as the plates might be. Leading ANZ driver now, of course, Team Milo's Luke Whitten, who is tucked in this battle here. I've had a couple of races with Luke this week. He's got the pace. He's got the consistency when he puts his mind to it. Can he do it in amongst some of the world's best? Interesting that lose from Gorkrocher. You were saying he's running his own pace, but to tell you what, that pressure from the Redface Racing boys was always there, and just that minor mistake, whether it be from the pressure or just a miscalculation through turn 4 there. Oh, he's got Soria has hit the rear of Gorkrocher there. Let's go back and check it out. I think he's come through the braking zone. Oh, he's got pressure of his own there, and he's come through. Oh, Gorkrocher very loose there. And then Soria's even more loose, and he just not able to pull it up. Kisses the apex. Oh, he's hit him rear first. Gorkrocher going from bad to worse, from a dream pole and start to a nightmare exit from the competitive scene of this race, Corey.
And that's just another case of people becoming victimized by turns 1 and 2 there, Alex. We've seen it twice now in two very different ways of it happening. But the fact of the matter is, very loose into turn 1 can equal a lot of disaster there going into turn 2. But I want to just quickly draw our attention back to the front crew. One thing that we haven't talked about being a possibility of is lap traffic here, Alex. And just 6 seconds, in fact, not even that, up the road from our leading 3 cars right now is AusNZ's own Ben Snell there for Milo Racing. Currently looking like he's going to become lap traffic here, Alex.
Yeah, his car looking decidedly second-hand, not yet been through the pits. Last guy on the lead lap, and yeah, still looking a little second-hand as the leaders now, as you say. They're not too far adrift as we're on riding along with our leader in Julian O'Fray. Look on the back there, you got Whitten putting all sorts of pressure on the back of the Redface Racing's Sasha Gourlay, and Whitten once again flying the flag for the ANZ drivers, chasing a podium finish here tonight. As you see, oh, Gourlay, every bit of the track and more. Your third gear on the gas through there, up to fourth through the final chicane there. It's got everything, this track. You've got a cresting blind chicane towards the end of this, and it's fourth gear to boot, so plenty of action. A real driver's track, Corey.
Indeed it is, Alex, and just the elevation change alone on this track would make it a fair bit of a driver's track, because a lot of the apexes coincide with little crests in the road, which make it very difficult to try and get the car turned in and stay towards the apex of a corner. Then you've also got a couple of high-speed sweeping corners. We can see the 13 of Ben Snell very smartly getting out of the way of the leaders, GG Ben. And it's one of those tracks that is difficult to drive, but is really fun kind of difficult. If you can get what I mean there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Just watching now on P4, we've got Anthony Catt, whose pressure really was, I think, what brought unstuck Soria and subsequently, unfortunately, took out Tim Gorkrocher. He is just the 1.1 seconds behind this lead group. He did a 14.3 last time round, but I tell you what, the pace is hot up front. 14.1, just about to duck into 13s from Julian O'Fray leading him out. And he's got this little gap now. He's got about a half-second gap. And a half a second at a track like this really indicates a difference in pace potentially. Because, within half a second with the draft, you're sort of matching pace for pace. But here, we're just pulling in on the straight to come down to just under 4/10 through. But through the rest of the technical elements of this track, so I can get about 5/6/10. You really know that there's a potential there for a slight pace differential, even at this level of racing, and potentially you don't have to do as much defending. You can just focus on running in lines and setting good lap times. Last lap, that time was a 14.2 for O'Fray and a 14 dead for Gourlay in draft, Corey.
Well, I think we might very well see a mythical 113 here, Alex. That would be absolutely amazing to see, and I reckon these guys definitely have the pace to do it. But going back to what you were saying just there, if you can be fast in these technical bits through the outer areas of the course, it's definitely going to set you up very well for not having to defend on the pit straight. As we can see, Luke Witten still pouring the pressure onto Sasha Gourlay there in P2. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize is you can still pick up a little bit of draft just before those S's coming up to the final corner, which leads to a very opportunistic uh, overtaking zone going into that final corner and heading up onto the main straight there, Alex.
Yeah, I get the sense that that draft that then ensues as we see the rear of Gourlay's car this time through turn 2. They're stepping out somewhat. I feel like the draft that you're talking about in the run then that comes of it down the front straight is about all that's keeping Gourlay ahead of Witten. Witten really closing the gap, and he's really the one putting pressure on Gourlay in front of him rather than Gourlay on O'Fray, although that gap now has closed right up through the technical section of the track here. The right-hander off the bridge, now down into turn 7 and 8. Again, elevation changes, the car swinging left and right now. Down into third gear, kiss that apex hard, run wide onto the curbing on the exit of the corner, then up over the cresting blind chicane, as we said. Hard on the brakes here. Swing round to the left, kick it out wide, try not to kiss the wall on the exit. You know, if you've all but kissed it, you've done a pretty good run through there, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. And these guys are definitely pushing the envelope for what they can achieve in these cars. We can see Luke absolutely right on the gearbox of Sasha Gourlay there going through the first corner. He's dropped back a little bit here in the braking zone for 2, but he was right up there and definitely pouring on that pressure. And Gourlay handling the pressure like an absolute champ, but still right on the edge of the ripple strips upon exit that I've been noticing here, Alex. So he's very close to disaster. One put wrong, and that could be him out of P2 here very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. We might try doing a full lap around here shortly, riding on board with one of these drivers. And in fact, we might do it with Mr. Witten. We'll go back on there and hop on board and talk you through a lap here. It's a short lap. It's 1 minute 14 dead was the last time round from O'Fray. As we come into this braking zone, into the final corner, sets up your run as we see Gourlay right up the tail. Beautiful on the apex there, kicks it out right, close to the wall there. Beautiful layout of the wall there. You can see all the textures, and for those who've been before you, leaving their mark, so to speak. Not quite the Wall of Champions, but maybe the Australian equivalent, as we see the two red-faced boys kick it down into fourth gear now, down in third, second, all the way down into first gear as you hug the double apex almost, turn 2 there, up into third now on the run down, braking at about the Marshall stand, up into fourth there for Witten even. Swing into that apex curbing, it's raised, so you don't want to kiss it, you want to go very close to it though. Brakes down into second gear, over the bump, through the apex there again, not wanting to kiss it too hard, if at all. Leaves it in third, slight lift, kissing the apex curving past the bridge, swinging out wide, grabbing a bit of grass on the exit without all of it, still in third, small lift in through the right hander, up into fourth, braking into the uphill left hander now. Look at that curve, you can cut that a lot this season, all the way onto the exit now, up into fourth gear, cresting chicane, as we said, now into that braking zone once again, and that, folks, is a lap. It's so fast I can't keep up with it, but it's a lot of fun at the same time, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. This is one of the best tracks on the calendar to come and race at. As we can see now, Sasha Gourlay pouring all the pressure onto his teammate Julian Alfray for the lead up the inside going into turn 1. This could be disaster for the two red-faced racing boys, but they've both got the experience to handle it going through turn 1. But this is also going to invite Luke Witten to have a look up the inside as well of Alfray. Doesn't look like he's quite got the legs on it at the moment, because Alfray back up onto the inside of Sasha Gourlay right now, going through turn 3. These guys are showing so much respect between each other right now, Alex. A lot of racing room given between the two teammates.
Oh, those corners told a beautiful story. We'll revisit it in a moment as we see the boys going 2 by 2 over the bridge. You see the leader, that was O'Fray. He had to defend from the outside. Oh, it's Witten coming out the inside now. Witten showing the nose up the inside, unsettling the red-face racing of Sasha Gourlay there. Is that enough? Half a second now, 5.5 tenths, going up to nearly 6 for Gourlay behind O'Fray now. And it's also brought in Cat. Cat's come back into it, but I tell you what, that's the story of this circuit. It's real pressure to pass stuff. You saw Witten almost making it 3 wide last lap. He looked up the inside to try to go through, but O'Fray forced to go to the outside, then had the inside running for the ensuing corners through 3, 4, 5 and 6. It wasn't until 6 that he made sure that he still, well, he secured the position, and then it was Gourlay coming under threat from Witten after that. That tells you the sort of challenging nature of getting a pass done here, because the crisscross that took place through turn 2 was not able to see Gourlay come back across to take the defensive line into 2, because they were still side by side as they went through there, and leaving Gourlay to defend into turn 3. That's just how tough it is to get a pass done here, Corey, and these guys showing, as you say, ton of respect and a ton of skill that lap, Corey.
That's right, Alex. It's not easy to go 2x2 on most tracks, but on a very technical track like this, it is even harder still. I mean, we saw it just a few weeks ago at Alton, an entire lap of side-by-side racing, but I don't think they'd be able to manage that here as much as they would want to try. But at the moment, Luke Witten still pouring all the pressure onto the back of Gourlay. He's right up on his gearbox here as they're coming across the line. Alex, we could see a move coming into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. We're just on board with Witten now. Is he? Oh, was that a late move? Or was he just not quite there? Hard to say. It looked like you've got to get side by side pretty early there if you want to get it done. And Witten not quite there, but all the while you got Anthony Cat just now half a second off the back. In fact, down to 2 tenths behind Witten, who has been, Witten's been putting all sorts of pressure over Gourlay, but now is he going to get some of his own medicine from Cat, Corey?
He very well might, Alex, and nice little fakie that he threw there, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to rattle Sasha Gourlay, vastly experienced driver. Of course, he is the one-plated car here tonight, which speaks to his skill, but Anthony Cat looking like he wants to try and put the cat amongst the pigeons and maybe try and start pressuring Luke here for the podium position, which will make this a very interesting race for second place here, Alex, because I don't think at the moment anyone is going to catch Alfred.
Well, 3 laps to go as they cross the line this time, and it's all sorts of pressure. Let's hop on board with Cat this time. Might even grab the roll bar. Look, this is the bird's eye view, isn't it? He's forcing Witten to go around the outside this time round. And, he's pulled up real short there. That's going to give Witten... Oh, he's run too deep, Corey. He had it all there in his kit bag, did Witten, and he's run too deep. He would have had the inside run that Gourlay's got now through Cat, but can he follow Gourlay through? Oh, it's nose to tail stuff. Cat's the winner of that little exchange, Corey, and he's bumped up a position there, and in fact he's up, can you believe it, one of the toughest tracks to get around one of your opponents. Up 6 spots, Corey, doing a fantastic job is Anthony Cat.
And that is absolutely incredible, Alex. I'm not sure that I've seen anyone gain that many positions without there being a lot of crashes on track. So Anthony Cat, well done, mate, getting up to P3 and pressuring for P2 as we're going through the final chicane to come up to the last corner. Cat very menacing there in the mirrors of Sasha Gourlay. Cat was looking like he was going to try and make a move there going into the chicane. Gourlay going very defensive here again. Everyone following him in the line, almost all the way down to that white line on the very inside of the track. This is going to give Luke Witten a chance to get up on the inside of Cat in turns 1 and 2, Alex. It's going to be an absolute heart-stopping finish if they keep this up for the rest of the race, which is only about a lap and a half to go.
Yeah, they've got just the balance 2 laps to go as they run this time round. Tell you what, it's a mix of attack and defence throughout with the lap with these guys. I tell you what, I think the real struggling point for Gourlay has been that exit of turn 12, the braking zone up the hill, the left-hander that they're approaching shortly. They're going through 7 and 8 now, and I think Gourlay has been struggling with this next corner here. You've seen he's run wide a couple of times. And we'll just pop on here, and he just runs wide into the dirt. No, he's managed to hold it on this time. Much more stable through there on this run through on the penultimate lap. But I tell you what, this mob battling like this has allowed Julian O'Fray. He's run away with it. He's now some 2 seconds just shy of ahead. But this is where it'll be run and one, folks. Here is we'll hop on board with Witten once again. The boys dancing around here down the front straight. Witten, he's got nowhere to go. The boys have the line astern. Oh, Cat up the inside. He's gone very deep. Witten going through. Witten now. Witten's got the run. Will he make? Oh, they're going to go 3 wide into 3, Corey. Can he get it done? It's Cat. He's hung on to it. Oh, 3 wide into 3. Witten forced around the outside. It's Cat that's got through. He's up 7 positions. What's Gourlay going to do up the inside? Nothing is the answer. Witten, oh, he's almost lost it. It's now battling 2, Corey. What have these guys got to do in the final stages?
Oh, I'm not sure, Alex. 3 wide going into turn 3 is absolutely nuts. These guys are pushing everything to the absolute limit, and they're showing it on track right now. Gourlay getting it into the grass on the apex of turn 11 there. These guys are fighting absolutely tooth and nail. I think Cat's got the run here coming up to the final corner. I'm not sure whether Gourlay is going to have anything for him in his final corner. He's going around the outside, which is not the preferred line, Alex. A little bit loose for both of them in the rear end. They're coming up to the checkered flag now. It's going to be interesting to see who it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be just Anthony Cat by about half a car length there, Alex.
Yeah, so I just missed O'Fray taking the line, and then, of course, muffed the battle. It looked like there was a little bit of netcode contact there for Gourlay on the rear of Cat, but no harm, no foul there as the car corrected itself. I thought it might have affected his run a little bit. Those contacts, although they're phantom, they can cause you a bit of drama as well. As we're on board now with Beatty. Paul Beatty finishing P7 tonight. That's got to be close to his best finish, I'm sure, in the top split. As the guys start crossing the line now. Russell Clark down in P10, just crawling. Oh, he's giving us an Enzo wiggle. He's pretty happy with his P10 by the looks. What a race that was there. I tell you what, the drivers haven't turned out this week in droves throughout the week, but for this race, they have shown up, and they've shown what racing at this track is all about, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. And I just want to quickly draw your attention to Ben Snell going a lap down, and we've seen him go a lap down with his car that looked like it was being held together with a little bit of duct tape. Finishing P11 there, Alex, in the SNL points.
Yeah, fantastic drive, and certainly an advertisement for sticking with it, as we see O'Fray now pulling into the pits after his cool-down lap, and we see Clark similarly following him into the pits at a slightly more or less orthodox approach, shall we say, to our race winner. But let's go and have a look. If I can find the right camera view, I always struggle. Let's go and have a look at our race results for round 8 here at Oran Park. For Sunday Night Lights Season 18, Julian O'Fray walked away with it in the end. He was under all sorts of pressure early on, but the Redface Racing team member has done it once again. I think it's his second win here on a Sunday night this season. P2, what a drive from Anthony Cat, UK and I's. He was 3 seconds off the lead, but look at that. That number 7 next to that green arrow, this sort of field and this sort of track, that's an outstanding drive. And we saw the best bits of it, I think, towards the latter stages of the race. P3 tonight went to Sasha Gourlay, the other Redface Racing boy. He put on a great show as well. P4 tonight went to Luke Witten, leading Team Milo driver, leading ANZ driver in P4. He started P3 and, geez, he had a race, didn't he, there, but managing to hang on for P4. UK and I's Lee Anderson. Looks like a bit of a lonely race for Lee there in P5. P6, Team Ovaltine's Håkon Grebstad. He's done well to get up to there. Paul Beatty up 8 positions for Team Milo. Tell you what, he was almost the leading Team Milo driver in there tonight, but he's got up there for P7. Congratulations to him. Looks like we'll be having a chat with him shortly. Sam Devantia for 10X Racing. He's up 9 positions, the biggest mover in the field by the looks. and finishing in P8. Peter Balassa in the 14-plated car tonight, finishing in P9 in his Sunday Night Lights debut. Team Milo's Russell Clark in P10, as we saw, and his teammate, Team Milo's Ben Snell in P11, up 8 positions and carrying a bit of damage, as we said, but he managed to drive on and finish in P11. P12 tonight, ANZ's Kevin Henderson, the final Sunday Night Lights points scoring position. Jose Soria for Pistons Sim Racing Team. 1 lap down after that big incident that took him out in the mid stages of this race. Him and Mr. Gorkrotcher in P13 there. Samuel Collins from ANZ in P14. Arnaud Chabannet, I said he was one to watch. The 17-plated car making his debut here tonight and perhaps a little out of order. But after a spectacular qualifying time, he's just come unstuck and taken a few with him, unfortunately. P16 tonight went to Team Torpedo's Anthony Jones. P17 to Top Split Racing's Tim Gorkrotcher, who's retired after being taken out and probably not with a smile on his face, that's to be sure. P18 similarly to Team Milo's John Scholz, an unhappy night, and perhaps the unhappiest night of all to Mr. Vascalampi, who didn't set a quality time and not many laps either, retiring very early in this race. Strength of field, as we said, 4,026 and a 13.8 to the hard-charging Anthony Catt. That's a fantastic lap time. No doubt draft assisted, but still, Corey, 13.8 around here, that's up with the best of them.
Oh, that definitely is, Alex. Absolutely incredible race by all. And we've seen a little bit of everything in this race. We've seen some absolute heartbreak with Vascalampi and Gorkrotcher getting crashed out. But we also seen some absolutely amazing racing at the front of the pack there. And 13.8 and then two 13.9s behind him for Sasha Gourlay and Luke Witten as well. These guys are definitely showing us what what it means to race here for our Sunday Night Lights broadcast, and it's incredible to see the skill that we have on display, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Very enjoyable race to watch and call, and hopefully for many in the field, very enjoyable to race as well. But we've got a few people in the green room, including one Mr. Sasha Gourlay. I'll bring him up for a chat. Sasha Gourlay, welcome to the Top Split Racing commentary booth. Mate, that was a spectacular race. Tell us, what was it like to be in the seat?
Yes, it was very nice and fun. Julia was really fast, so I could just follow him. And once I think it was on lap 14 on 15, I had one opportunity, so I tried to take it, but it didn't work. And after that, Luke tried to overtake me, and then we lost a little bit of time and lost the draft of Julian, and then it was an intense fight.
Yeah, mate, it looked like a spectacular battle there amongst yourself, Cat, and Witten towards the end. 3 wide momentarily into turn 3 would have been a nervous moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. I was really nervous. I was afraid when I saw Anthony coming on the inside on turn 1 and sliding a little bit. I was afraid he lost totally control, but he managed to keep the car on track. So we lost time, and Luke has the opportunity to come on the left. But Luke have been very cautious on turn 3, and everything finished fine.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Well, you guys put on a fantastic show. We really enjoyed watching it, and hopefully it was a lot of fun for yourself as well. And look, if it's not yourself, it was your Red Face Racing team member and Julian O'Fray up there taking the win. You yourself rounding out the podium tonight, mate. So hopefully plenty more of that sort of action to come. So thank you for joining us, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, Corey and you, Alex, for the broadcast, like every week. And Julian would like to join us on the Discord Top Split. but I don't think he has a invitation. I don't know how to say in English. Yeah, we would like to join you, but if you can send him the
The information,
invitation, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, no
Yeah,
problems. Look,
yeah.
at the end of each broadcast, mate, we put up all the details. There'll be a link there that he can follow to join the server, and if he follows that, no dramas. Otherwise, I'll send you a message about how to do the
Okay.
same, mate. So we'll get that sorted. No problems. It'd be great to have the other Redface Racing team member in here, particularly after a famous race win like this, mate. So thank you once again for joining us, Sasha, and we look forward
Thank
to
you.
talking to you in the coming weeks.
Yes, for sure. I'll be there. Thank you, guys. Bye.
There you go, Corey. Sasha Gourlay only managed third step on the podium, but I tell you what, it was a hard-fought third step at that.
Hard fought is not the word for it, Alex. The amount of pressure that Luke was putting on him lap after lap after lap, and then to lose second place to Anthony Cat with well, the only way I could describe it is a slide job, being the dirt racer that I am. Um, it was a great race by those guys. Absolutely so skillful there at the front of the pack. And, you can hear in Sasha's voice, he's not disappointed about losing second, but, great job by himself and his Red Face Racing teammate there, Julian Alfred, for getting the win.
Yeah, absolutely hard to be disappointed after a race like that. But our next interview tonight, I'll leave you with Mr. Grebstad, Corey, if you'd like to find out how our what was he P6 at the end of the night. See how he went there.
G'day, Hawkon. What's going on, man?
Good day. Well, it's going pretty well.
Now, how was the race for you, man? Because we were focused mostly on the front of the pack. An absolutely amazing fight up there. A little bit of a quiet one for you tonight, as far as the broadcast is concerned.
Yeah, me and Lee Anderson were going at it for about like 15 laps or so before I had a little whoopsie and spun. But we started off behind car 17. I can't really remember his name, but I think he held us up a little bit, so we lost the front group. I think we might have been able to stay with him if it hadn't been for that.
Well, we did see a little bit of that, Anu Chabonet, and he did have a little bit of an oopsie himself going through turn one, and unfortunately, taking
Yeah,
out some of the drivers in the process. What was it like trying to weave your way through that minefield?
yeah, that little mistake of his, it was, I don't know if it was the pressure, because I was going through at that moment when he lost it. So I saw everything in my mirrors, just the carnage behind me. I felt a little bad.
Now, I just want to touch really quickly on the pre-race. I'm not sure if you got a jump start or not, but you went from ninth to first before the second corner.
Oh yeah, that
Was
was
that a
it.
jump start?
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that for myself because if it wasn't, that was an amazing jump.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a jump start. I actually was struggling to turn on crew chief as the lights were coming on, and as soon as crew chief popped up, for some reason my brain thought it was the green light, so I went.
All right, mate. While we got you up here in the booth, anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
I just gotta thank you guys for putting on a show every week.
All right, well, thank you very much, man. Congratulations on P6, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you, sir. I'll try to be there.
All right, there you go, Alex. Hawkon Grabstad there, P6. Nice little quiet race for him after he'd finished having his battle with Lee. A little bit of an oopsie himself there.
Yeah, I was just riding on board with Hawken there while you're talking to him. I found out where Kevin nearly lost his nose. He gave Hawken a little touch up there in one of the braking zones. Interesting. It's what I really like about this damage model is, and it's still on screen at the moment. You can see the little bend in Hawken's exhaust pipe there. That sort of level of detail. And I know it's still a work in progress, and we see the little repairs get magically made at some point, but the fact that you can see, Henderson's nose cone just hanging on by a thread there, and Grebstad's exhaust pipe, as we said, that little kink in it. It's at an amazing level of detail, and when they get it right, a fantastic addition to the service it will be. Now, our next driver, and I'll pull him up now,
the place.
Mr. Beatty would have to be, I'm going to say, the happiest sim racer on the planet at the moment, mate. P7, tell us the story.
Oh man, that was intense. I had to have a little lie down after that. It was so much fun. So I thought it was going to be like a 17-car train all race with me at the back, and then I don't know what lap it was, but something went wrong, and I ended up making places, and then I was having a race with people. It was great. And so it was nice just to not get freebies. It was nice to actually do something. Poor old cowboy had to put up with me defending for about 15 laps or so, but there you go. I'm not that sorry.
Sorry, not sorry, as they say in the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. This is the track to do it at. It's tough to get past, and a little bit of defence goes a long way. But am I right in saying that's your best finish in a Sunday Night Lights race?
Oh yeah, I mean not just the place; it was the best race I think I've had on a Sunday night. I'm pretty happy with that. That was fun.
Yeah, fantastic. And fun's what it's all about, folks. Getting out there on track, having a good race, and walking away with a smile on your face. Doesn't happen every time, but when it does, it's like that magic one tee shot in a golf round that keeps bringing you back each time to take a bit of punishment when it doesn't come your way. But Paul, mate, great race. Great to see you in the top split and doing so well, mate. Congratulations on your result. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, you guys, the Team Milo guys, FNRC, and Luke May, because he wants to be on telly.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, Paul, mate. We'll look forward to catching you in the coming weeks.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Corey, happiest man in sim racing indeed, Mr. Paul Beatty. I'll leave you to talk to his Team Milo compatriot or teammate in Mr. Ben Snell, who's coming up for a chat now.
G'day, Ben. Welcome up to the booth, man. Not the best of races for you, man. What happened to set you down so far in the field to begin with?
What do you mean, Corey? I finished this is my second finish in the points this season. I'm on top of the world. I jumped in, no practice. I haven't been on the sim itself in nearly 2 weeks, so I thought, bugger it, I'll come and do some laps because it's Oran Park, so no doubt there'll be some freebies, and I was right. Including me, I drove a lap at the start of the race, missing one of my wheels after unfortunately I got cleaned up, or I cleaned up Timo at the start of the race. And then, thankfully, because I didn't tow, I managed to leapfrog everybody that did tow in the crashes, and I actually got in the points somehow. So, go Team Milo.
Well, yeah, I was wondering about that, mate, because I reckon you're carrying around some green duct tape in your car so you could repair it on the go. She was looking a little bit secondhand there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think maybe my car was too low. I didn't make any changes, and this track is quite bumpy, so I also went backwards through the last corner and did a bit of airtime and slammed the nose into the wall on lap 2 as well. So it was an interesting race for the viewers at the old Television Twitch channel, but I think the race that you guys broadcasted was just as interesting up the front as well.
Now, we did notice that you went a lap down, but you very smartly got out of the way of the leaders so they could continue on their battle. Can you just explain a little bit for the folks at home what it's like when you do have the leaders coming up behind you and when you got to try and pick a place to let them past?
Well, I started off, I thought I made a real funny jab after it happened that I know what it feels like to be Russell now when he's getting lapped. So at least one team Milo car had to get a bit of airtime getting lapped. So this week it was my turn. But basically, as you see the guys coming up, you look at the gaps, and I know once the guys behind me got within that second and a half, it was better off for me just to find a nice big straight piece of road, jump on the radio, go, I'm pulling to the left, go through, guys, and just let the whole pack through. That way, I'm by myself. I'm not fighting anybody for position. You let the guys that are having their race jump through. You don't get in the way and cause chaos that you see all the time. So when it's your turn to go, it's your turn to go, and you just do it with as much dignity as you can, I guess.
All right, mate. Well, I know that you're not going to be with us next week. You've already described a little bit about that in your stream. So, do you want to tell the folks at home where you actually stream and what you're getting up to next week that's going to keep you away from us?
Of course, you guys can jump on the Twitch. I stream sometimes other nights than Sunday, but mostly Sundays. At twitch.tv/Snellervision. It's like my name with Ovision at the back. I'm not going to try and spell it because every time I do, I mess it up. And next Sunday, of course, I will be out at Tailem Bend at the Bend Motorsport Park for round 2 of the Drifting SA State Series. And you guys can jump onto the Facebook page there at facebook.com/driftingsa, and we will have a live stream up all day. And you can hear more of my glorious tones booming over the microphone.
Alrighty, mate. Now, who you got to give a shout out to? Because we know that you could have a shout out as well.
Oh, of course. Big shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast, bringing out the cream of the crop of the Skippy drivers. I'd like to include myself in that sometimes, but tonight was not that night. It was great to watch the broadcast last week as well while I was out on holiday, so got to watch the Phoenix race. But as always, a great job that you guys put on. Big shout out to all of our Aussies that are out here in the Australian Strength of Field race. We had a really strong representation in the top 10 this week, which is really nice to see. And of course, as always, go Team Milo.
Go Team Milo indeed. All right, Ben. Congratulations on scraping yourself into getting some SNL points. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, mate.
Thanks, guys.
There you go, Alex. Mr. Benjamin Snell. Happy with his 11th place result. Not happy with how he got that far back, but happy nonetheless.
Yeah, look, we're happy to have him here, to be honest. These are the first laps he's turned this week, so that sort of support of the series is genuinely very, very much appreciated. But speaking of supporting the series, our final interview tonight is with Mr. Brian Sheridan. Shero, joining us from what I think was the second split tonight, mate. You got a bit of a roving report for us?
Yeah, evening, Alex. Evening, Corey. How you going, guys?
Yeah, going good, mate. It was a pretty spectacular race up here. How about at your end?
Yeah, I was just having a chat to some of the guys. Actually, I was in Discord with some of the top split guys before the race as well. So, yeah, it was interesting in the second split. Good race, good fun, good clean race. Had some of the guys with me down there that often make it to the top split, like Jason Willman and Jason Browers and Kane Greenwood. Actually, Jason Browers haven't seen for a long time. He's back on track, which was good to see. Had a fantastic race. Chased Kane Greenwood around, started P7. Good on cold tyres, I am. So I slipped up into P5, jumped in behind Kane Greenwood and sort of hung on for the toe. Got myself away from the guys behind me and hung on with the front pack of 4 till the end, mate. I did all right. Finished P5. Very clean race. No incidents for me, and I didn't hear too much over the radio. Seemed like it was fairly clean, but great fun circuit, Oran Park. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it's been a good lot of racing this week. I know I've enjoyed it, and I've spoken to you during the week. You seem to be having a good time. I'll tell you what, a name in amongst those that I was very pleased to hear, Jason Willman. We haven't seen him on a Sunday night for a while. He, along with Kevin Henderson, were real stalwarts of ANZ Skippy Racing and this series in particular. He was right up there with Kevin for the most number of caps for races run here. Haven't seen him in a while, so I'm very pleased to hear you say that he was out there having a run. Great to see him back on track. But that's what it's all about, mate, isn't it? Grins on your face, good racing, and getting out there and racing with your mates.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, Jason Willman, I was sorry to see him back, actually, because he was one of the guys that was hunting me down towards the finish. I was watching my relative. He's always been very, very quick, Jason, a good, clean, hard racer too. So, yeah, I was quite happy to see his name up there on my relative when he turned up. So, but, yeah, fantastic night, guys. Fantastic night's racing at Oran Park.
Yeah, absolutely. He and his brother, lightning fast, and look forward to seeing more of them, hopefully, in the future and hopefully in top split, much like yourself, mate. So get working at it, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on the big screen not too far away. But thanks for joining us, mate, and giving us a rundown of the second split. Anyone like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Bernie Weemers, I'd like to give a shout out to for basically getting me into Skippy racing, I reckon. And I'd also like to say good day to all the boys in FNRC. Good to see representation in here on Sunday Night Lights. So thanks to you guys for putting on a good show, and hopefully I'll be up there in the next few weeks, mate. I think I picked up about 150 I rating this week at Oran Park. So getting back up.
Perfect. Sounds like a great one. Yeah, great man is Mr. Weemers. Got this show started in the early days, and fantastic to see him on track recently as well. Hopefully, a lot more of that in the future. So thank you for joining us here, Shero, and look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
There you go, Corey. The heart and soul of Friday Night Race Club, of course. Mr. Brian Sheridan doing it tough, or having a bit of fun at least in the second split. As has the fun is the word for the racing here this week, mate.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And you know, the embodiment of Friday Night Race Club is all in Brian Sheridan there. He's always great fun to have around in a race, whether you're just talking a little bit of crap or whether you're trying to get in and have a serious race. Brian's always a great bloke to have around. And, I'm glad to see him doing well. And hopefully we can, in the next couple of weeks, maybe see him maybe test the waters of a top split race, which will be very interesting to see because he's a quick driver.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Look forward to seeing that for sure. Now, I'm just going to grab a look here as we start to wind things up here tonight, folks. Corey, tell the folks at home where they might find you this week.
All right, so you guys can find me over at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. That is my main channel where I do a lot of my just random racing around and having a bit of fun. You can also catch me over at twitch.tv/Aussie_sim_commentator for round number 12 of the Output Racing League from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which will be a great race. It's the penultimate race of the regular season. Then we go into playoffs. Also, you can find my recent Facebook videos over at facebook.com/Speedway Meme 69 from the racing action from the Perth Motorplex last night, which was quite a cracking event. So yeah, I think that's about it for me, Alex.
Plenty going on in the life of the chaotic one, that's for sure. But folks, on your screen at the moment is not only Corey's main channel there, and Corey Has No Life 13, but all the top split places there. This race replay, of course, will be up on the Top Split YouTube channel. The Discord link that I mentioned before to join us for the racing here and for the broadcast interviews is on the screen as well. The Top Split podcast can be found at thetopsplit.com, but also on YouTube. Now, Ben Snell, who we spoke to before, mentioned his drift racing for Drift SA. Well, you can check out some of that action in the latest episode. Episode 26 is on all iTunes and your favourite podcatcher, but also the video version where we look at some of Ben's drifting is also on the Top Split YouTube channel. Facebook and, of course, Twitch, where you are right now if you're watching this live, or if you want to see any of my racing during the week, Top Split TV is where to find it. All right, folks, that will do us for now. Thank you once again for joining us on track and in the broadcast. Your support is greatly appreciated. So until next time, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and on behalf of the chaotic one, Corey Steinhauser, it's ciao for now.